Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of The Portable Gamer, and welcome back to ETS2. We're continuing our loop around Europe. And we are right now, we're still in our Scania 144 4x2, and we are in the middle of nowhere in Iceland. We've got a load on, and we're going to take it up to Selfoss, up near Reykjavik. And our goal, if you remember, our base is down here in Reims, and we've gone up through the UK. We're up in Iceland. When we get up near Reykjavik, we've got to decide whether we want to backtrack back to the harbor, back to the mainland, whether we want to go across one of the northern routes. And I really don't know if I want to in that 4x2, and it's got kind of a small motor. I don't know, we'd need a fairly light cargo. And we would need to really be mindful of getting it over these hills in the ice and snow. It's possible we'll just come back along this southern route. I hate to backtrack, but it's not the end of the world. And ideally, we're going to get into Scandinavia and continue across. I would love to get all the way over to Murmansk, and then down through Eastern Europe, explore some of these ProMods areas. Down into Italy, explore the new Italia DLC, down around through Spain, and back to our base. The other possibility is that we come down back through the UK or through Germany and Holland, back to Reims, and swap out for another truck. We've got, I believe, 100,000 euro right now. Let's take a look. 134,000 euro. So I've got a total of 5 trucks, 4 plus the one we're in, and I don't want to have more than that. I only want to have 5 trucks total. But we've got an MAN that I'd like to swap out. It's a 4x2 also, and I'd like to swap it out for maybe an 8x4, something big and more appropriate to the heavy haul and special cargo. So that's it. We're up at this quarry. We're at the end of a long gravel road. It's going to be interesting to get back to the highway. So we're all set. Here we go. And I may be pretty quiet till we get down to the end of this little, it's not quite a single track, but it's pretty narrow. I might be kind of quiet till we get down to the end of here, although maybe not. I seem to have, I hope the frame rate is good. I seem to have sorted out that speeding up and slowing down that was happening last episode. I think it was the mirrors. That's what I was told anyway. The mirrors, if you have your mirrors set to high, and I have all my graphics, not maxed out, I'm not on ultra anywhere, but everything is on high, and I'm holding 60 FPS, no problem, even in cities. But I had my mirrors on high as well. And what I was told was, or what I found on a forum was, turn your mirrors down. They're not that critical. So I keep the distance up. I don't like when I see things disappearing in my mirrors, sort of dropping off, that kind of sudden just disappear. So I have the distance turned up, but I turn down the resolution and the quality, and I don't seem to be having that same problem. I'm trying to keep my momentum up here. I don't seem to be having that same problem. I refer to it as surging. I've heard it, some people call it lagging. Lag for me, I tend to think of lag as more a multiplayer thing, so maybe that's not exactly the right term, but sorry, really concentrating right now. Whether you want to call it surging or lagging, whatever it is you want to call it, that's what it was doing. The game seems to slow down, and then it seems to speed up and sort of catch up to itself in time. Now, I did find something interesting, which is that with Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive, and I believe Sony has a system, and Google VR, there are a lot of VR systems coming online right now. And I know Oculus Rift is where I found what they're calling ASW, which is asynchronous space warp, and I guess it's an improvement of something previously that was called asynchronous time warp. And I hadn't really thought about this, but it's super critical, because VR is really tricking your brain. It is absolutely critical that what you're seeing on your VR headset is exactly lined up with what your body's doing. And the way it works is, if you should have slept before I came up here. I just realized that. I think we may be in trouble. Curious how I get out of this one. We definitely don't have enough hours left before we have to sleep. We're not going to make it to Reykjavik, but I don't know if we're even going to make it to a place to sleep. We'll see. Hope springs eternal. So with VR, it is absolutely critical that what is being displayed on the monitor links up exactly, like to the microsecond, with what your head is doing. If the world in the monitor tilts out of sync with your head, it instant nausea, and it's really not good. It makes people very, very sick. So find the right gear here. So asynchronous time warp and asynchronous space warp, as I understand it, is when, and this is Oculus Rift, when Oculus Rift determines that the display and the real world are getting out of sync, it skips frames and does other things to bring it up to speed before it makes the person in the VR headset sick, and I'm guessing also angry. So it's possible, because that's being included in graphics cards now and in drivers. I'm told. I don't know how accurate or valid any of this is. I'm just trying to piece together what I read on the internet, But there was some information that said that some of the surging that you're seeing in graphics now, in gaming, is related to trying to avoid that disconnect. So I don't know. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's not. But we are at a rock solid 60 FPS right now. Now I'm running OBS. You know, I'm running OBS for capture, and I'm learning all this stuff. I'm learning, and what I'm learning is you have to have your OBS set to capture. You want your frame rate of whatever it is you're gaming, and OBS to be sort of able to see one another. So if you're capped at 60 FPS, you want OBS to be at 60 FPS or 120 FPS. I'm still sorting all this out, but essentially you don't want odd frames. You want it to be sort of tracking, you know, you want one to be tracking against the other. So I don't know how that works. If I cap at 60 FPS, then I'll never go above 60 FPS. I'll limit myself to 60 FPS in the game, but that doesn't mean I can't go below. So I don't know what happens if I go below 60 FPS. Does that throw everything off, and does it all go to pieces? I'm trying to figure it all out. And I'm also trying to figure out the best way, you know, the best trade-off between, I'm not at 4K, not even close to 4K right now. I would love to be able to hold 1080p, 60 FPS, but I am capturing and streaming on the same card, and I'm on a laptop. It's a hot rod gaming laptop, but it's not, you know, I'm not on some 16 core liquid cooled system. All right, now it's getting bad. I'm going to start dozing off soon. I really need a place to sleep. And you know, I'm sort of fatalistic. I'm either going to get to a town or I'm not. I'm either going to get to a place to sleep or I'm not. Oh, thank you, game. Turns out I am. So I'm rendering the game and I'm capturing the video on the same card, and as they're sort of cooperating and competing, you know, I mean the game and the capture software are competing and cooperating. I think I'm saying that right. Jeez, Pete, scares the hell out of me every time that happens. Okay. Okay. We're doing on fuel. Doing okay on fuel. I think I'm just gonna drive the rest of the way into Reykjavik. It's not actually Reykjavik, it's just nearby, but I think I'm going to drive the rest of the way, and there's a fuel stop right across the street here, but I don't think we need it. So my graphics card is trying to render the game and do the capture at the same time. And I recognize that I need to not have the total workload that they're doing combined exceed the capacity of the card itself, if that makes sense. I think it does. I need to back one or the other of them down, or both of them, so that the card can render everything. this guy. And I think I'm doing okay. I have seen truck sim videos. I've seen all kinds of simulation videos on YouTube, and there are some of them, it literally looks like you're watching a movie. It is, the detail and the depth is just extraordinary. And the thing about ultra settings is the higher your settings go, pardon me, the higher your settings go, the more, wow, my voice is going. I did one video this morning. I think I got some voice left in me. We'll make it happen. It's not just the level of detail and the level of sharpness or crispness. It's not just that the scenery and the render gets more and more crisp or more and more sharp. It gets, to me, it gets more rich. It gets more depth to it. The colors, it just begins to look 3D, like you can stick your hand into it. Everything gets sort of softer and smoother and more detailed at the same time. So, being able to render at that level, I'm speeding a little bit here. Being able to render at that level, I don't know if I could render at that level even if I wasn't trying to capture. But I also recognize that that's nice to see, but I know it's kind of a big deal because those videos typically say ultra settings or ultra graphics or 4K or something. So the person who's doing that understands that they truly have a hot rod machine that's capable of doing extraordinary things with the graphics. So a lot of people are not on ultra, and I don't think it's the end of the world. I hope viewers aren't turned off by the fact that my settings are just on high and not ultra. I think it's a decent render. It's tricky. I've got the monitor in my Omen laptop is phenomenal. Deep black, super crisp. I'm sending this up to a 30-inch monitor, desktop monitor. I don't even know. I don't have a tape measure handy, but I've got a big monitor on my desk. But it's not very, it's not bad, but it's not super expensive. It's not a super high dollar monitor. So again, that's something else to keep in mind when I'm getting all these settings put together is what you're going to see the same as what I'm going to see, because I see something completely different. If I run these monitors side by side, I see something different than if I turn on one or turn on the other. And I even wonder if I can extend my monitors, I can duplicate my monitors. When I have OBS open on one monitor and the sim open on the other monitor, well, too late now. When I have OBS open on one monitor and the sim open on the other monitor, I don't know if sending signal to two monitors Thanks, game. I don't know if sending signal to two monitors taxes the video card when the setup is extended. If you duplicate monitors, it's sending the same signal to both, right? And it's not analog. It's not like voltage or something where if you spread it over twice the area or twice the usage, then each side gets half. You see what I'm saying? It's a digital signal, so I imagine if it's sending to one monitor or sending the same thing to two monitors, I don't think that would tax it extraordinarily. But if you extend your monitor, now you've basically made a monitor 3,800 pixels wide. So I don't know how that affects the graphics card. So it could be that when I extend my monitor and have OBS on one side and the game on my big monitor, that it's rendering that differently than it would. So a lot of different variables, and I'm trying to put everything together. And then I'm also cognizant of the fact that I'm rendering different sims to the same OBS software. And I don't want to get into a nightmare where every setting is different, and I have to completely reconfigure OBS every time I'm going to stream, depending on whether or not it's a different sim that I'm capturing or what have you. I don't mind doing that. I'm not opposed to doing that. I don't want to do that, but I'll do that if I have to. But I don't want to get to a place where I'm just chasing settings every single time I set up. I would like to get to a place where I have a set of settings. I have my settings written down, both for the sim itself and for OBS. Dial in the settings, fire everything up, and make a video. And it's as simple as that. I don't want to be chasing the dragon, as the kids say. Well, the kids that are addicted to heroin say that. I don't know if other kids say that. I'm sure some kids say that aren't addicted to heroin. Well, that escalated quickly. So yeah, it's a Sunday here. I woke up at 5 o'clock again. 5:30. I woke up very early, which is not a big deal. I don't mind waking up early, but it's still, particularly on a Sunday, when I wake up that early, now I feel like, well, shit, got to start my day. And I don't necessarily want to, because that can kind of make for a long day or an early evening. And I'm also not opposed to that, but some days I want to sleep in a little bit, and today was not that day. So I woke up early, made a farm video, made an FS17 video early this morning, and that seems to suit me. I'm sort of finding my way through this process. I'm figuring out what I'm doing here, and something that I've realized is I think I farm better early in the morning, and I think farming is almost more of a kind of a daytime or a morning activity. Farmers have that reputation. That's the cliche, right? It's a farmer that's up at the crack of dawn. I find that I'm really strong on racing sim in the afternoon, and I feel like that's when I'm kind of at my mental peak. And I feel like truck sim, I can sim in the afternoon. Right now I'm truck simming at 10:30 in the morning. So I hope I can anyway. But I feel like evening is kind of a suitable time for truck sim. I love the idea. Well, I don't even love the idea of it. I love actually doing it. I love driving at night when the roads are deserted and it's just you. It's very solitude, last man on earth kind of thing. So I love driving in truck sim. I love driving a truck at night in the middle of nowhere. I like driving in cities too, but I like the middle of nowhere. So I would say that would be the spread, is early morning for farm sim, afternoon for racing sim, and evening for truck sim. And I feel like there's some latitude to mix it up in there. I would not race early in the morning. My mind is just not awake yet. And I probably wouldn't farm in the evening, because I worry I would fall asleep. Farming is so relaxing. And when I'm tired at the end of the day anyway, I just think that would be a bad idea. Although having said that, the truck sim is obviously pretty relaxing. I don't know. It's just different. Trust me on this. I don't want to argue. It's just different. So farm sim in the morning, race sim in the afternoon, truck sim at night. I think for me that's a good spread. And I am learning how different I am recording these videos depending on when I do them. So I think I'm saying there's a right time and a wrong time, not just to enjoy the sim, but to make a good video. And that's, Ernest Hemingway, one of my favorite authors. Ernest Hemingway said, "Sex and writing are only fun for amateurs. Once you're doing it to make a living, it's not fun anymore, it's work." And I'm aware of the fact that I love simulation gaming. I always have. And it's one of those things that I really don't even want to explore it too deeply, because I don't want to run the risk of uncovering some secret reason why I love it so much, and then that ruins it for me. Like, once I know the secret. I love turkey sandwiches. I don't know why. I don't really want to know why. I just like turkey sandwiches. We'll just leave it at that. So I love simulation gaming. I mean, I can tell you reasons on the surface why I know I like it. I like being able to do things that I would never otherwise be able to do. I love the portability of it. That's my whole hook. I'm a portable gamer. I'm going to go off on a tangent here, and then I'll come right back around. When I was a kid, my dad was very much into model railroading. He had been into model railroading since he was a kid. And we were never able to build the model railroad that we wanted to build. We just didn't have the space for it, and we didn't have the time to put into it, because it takes hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of work. Depending on how big it is and how long you work on it, it can take thousands of hours of work. There are model railroads that people took 10 or 15 years to finish. So we never did get to build that model railroad, and now here I am all these years later. I move. Here's a little secret about ill will. I move about once a year. I've lived all over the country. I've lived all over the world. And every evening before I go to sleep, I back up all my save games for the day to a portable hard drive. And every Sunday night, I back up all my save games for the day, which encompasses save games for the week as well. But I back everything up to the cloud. And the reason I do that is, if my apartment burned down tonight, I wouldn't want to lose all my save games. The laptop I can replace. The games I can go on Steam and replace. But my save games I couldn't replace. And my mods too. There's some mods that I have no idea where I got them, and I don't know that I would ever be able to find them again. The big ones, things like ProMods and this RJL Scania that I'm in. Yeah, I know where to find those. But there are other mods that I have no idea where I got them, and I have no idea how I would ever find them again. So, and I have hundreds of mods. I have, I believe, 500 mods in Farm Sim, and I have about 100 in Truck Sim, ETS2. So I would not want to have to track all those down again. And there's also something about the work, which is, man, I struggle with this mentally, like trying to understand this. I cannot wrap my brain around the fact that we play these Sims. They're fake. It's just a game. It's not real. But if I lose a save game and I have to pull a save game off my hard drive and I lose a few hours, I realize, that I've lost a few hours of gaming. It's I don't like it. I don't like that feeling. And it's weird for me to think, well, you're just going to have to make up that that ground that you lost. And the way that you'll do that is by, like, let's say ETS2. We're up here in Iceland now. If I lost this save game and the most recent save game that I had put us back in Wick, we would need to travel up here again, which is two or three trips, I think. So I would have to drive my little truck up here, and I'd be driving my truck. If I didn't lose my save games, when we came into ETS2, we would just be driving the truck. So no matter what we lost, no matter whether we were on a recent save game or an old save game, we'd still just be driving a truck, a fake truck. So it really is that's a fun thing to unpack, is why would you be upset that you lost fake work? That you're just going to do the same thing anyway, whether you lose it or not. You're just going to drive the truck. What's the big deal? And I don't know what the big deal is. I guess it's some part of our brain that recognizes having worked, having done work, and wanting it to mean something. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. It's fascinating, though, to realize that I feel that way about it. Like, I worry about losing fake work, that I'm just going to do the same thing anyway. Anyway, so Hemingway said, sex and writing are only fun for amateurs. Once you do it for a living, it's not fun anymore. And I think I love simulation gaming. But now here I am. I wouldn't say that I want to do it for a living, but I want to do it for a reason other than just pure enjoyment. I want to put it out there and share it with people now, which I guess is, I would say, if you want to play music, you can play music by yourself in your home. Nobody ever hears it. You can do that for your own personal enjoyment just because you like music. Okay? Then one step up from there is you go to a coffee house or an open mic or something, and you're doing it for people, but you're not necessarily doing it for money, and you're certainly not trying to get rich and famous. Maybe if you make 20 bucks in tips, good for me, or you know what I'm saying. Great, you made 20 bucks, fantastic. But that's hardly a living. So I'm not looking to get rich making YouTube videos. I mean, I wouldn't mind it if you know somebody who's somebody's willing to pay me, give them my DM number and have them whatever. You know what I mean. So where's my turn? There it is. Okay. So what I'm saying is I'm not making any money doing this. Don't know if I'll ever make a dime doing this. But I still don't want it to turn into work. I still don't want it to be, I'm in the habit of posting one video per day, and I'm tired, and I got the flu, and my voice is cracking, and yada, 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 yada. I really don't feel like making a video today, but I have to because I post content every day, or whatever. I don't know at that point if simulation gaming would be as much fun as it's always been, or if at that point it would be sort of, kind of over it. I don't know. I've been enamored with simulation gaming since I was a kid, specifically racing sims. I mean, I've been playing racing sims since I was probably 8 or 9 years old. You don't want to know how old I am, but I have been playing racing sims sort of since they were invented, like that long. I remember being excited when they released Pole Position and Outrun and Cruis'n USA, which in hindsight they're not simulations at all. They're in hindsight they are cartoony arcade games, but at the time that was, we were blown away. So I've been there since the beginning, and I've always been into simulation gaming, and particularly transport sim, cars and trucks. So I imagine I always will be. I hope I always will be. And whether I do it for fun or whether I do it for a living or however we want to categorize it, I hope I'm always enjoying what I do. I'm feeling like, the angle of that lowboy right there looks really specific, like it's designed to mess with me. So I got me an idea. And you may not know this about me, but I went to college for almost 3 weeks. So I'm saying you're not going to pull a little ill will. I'm hoping I don't back into an invisible wall here, because if you look at the map, there's really nothing behind us there. All right, you starting to see my plan? You seeing how it's all coming together? Because the angle of that lowboy, I just feel like it's a trap. It's designed to trick me. You can't trick me. Well, I mean, you probably could if you really put a lot of time and effort into it. You know what? I'm not feeling good about that. Did I mention I'm OCD? That's better. Okay. Turn everything off. Let's see how we did. Fantastic. Okay, so next time we're going to start working our way back to the mainland. And like I said, we're either going to go into Scandinavia and across up into Russia, or we'll get onto the mainland and down to Rems and get a new truck, or we'll come down the UK and get a new truck. Of the three, I would prefer Scandinavia because we've already been here and I like to go to new places. So that's going to wrap it up for another episode. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for checking out The Portable Gamer. We'll see you next time. Take care.